All right, good evening, fam. Glad to be with you tonight. This is our next installment. I think this is our fourth installment of Conspiracy Crypto. And due to a good bit of demand in some other streams I was popping into this week, we decided, and along with the new hurricane of course, I believe that the government sent into Florida this week, we decided to extend the conversation about weather modification and using weather as warfare. And I've got some new clips today to show everybody. Again, I come from this perspective. I think everything in our everything in our world that we're fed by the mainstream media is basically a lie, and that they've been specifically to weather manipulation. They've been manipulating the weather for a long time, and by they I mean the cabal, the Illuminati, whoever you want to say, whoever's in charge of this realm. Uh, these nefarious people have been controlling the weather for a long time, and I think there's a lot of evidence about that. We're also going to talk a little bit of crypto tonight. I want to welcome our guest this evening. Originally, we had a little bit larger panel plan, but some things came up with some of our other guests. But we do have Nate McGinnis from the DGen Roundtable. If you're not familiar with the DGen Roundtable, they started a small channel about a year ago, I guess, just like I've started one here recently. And they have blossomed into a great asset on to the crypto world in general, to Pulsechain and Richard Hart ecosystem in particular. They put out great content, and I'll let him share a little bit about that. Let me welcome Nate.
Hello. Hey, how's it going?
Hey.
How's it going, everyone? What's up? Glad to be here.
Man, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself and about the DGen Roundtable for the people that may not be familiar with what's going on with your group?
Yeah, so the DGen Roundtable is a group of individuals who worked really hard to try and learn crypto, the cryptocurrency space. We're all go-getters, and so it's like we want to get out of the financial system. And then when we started learning how to get out of it using crypto and all that, we started realizing, hey, there's a lot of people who need a lot of help. And since we're the ones with the knowledge and they keep asking us questions, why don't we just simply start up at YouTube and put our opinions out there in the ether and see if we can happen to help people? And apparently we've been helping people because we've been kind of blowing up. So yeah, that's the DGen Roundtable. I personally, on the DGen Roundtable, I'm the guy who has a tendency to go through the chats, go through the telegrams, meet lots of other crypto celebrities, talk about things, right, as well as getting on chain, looking at what's going on as far as like AVAX or Phantom, Pulsechain, all these other different chains. Finding the deals, getting everybody all squared away for any questions they got. I also do make money printers because I work a lot and I don't got time to sit here and stare at charts all day long. That's not something I can do. I go to work and then I come back and I have a family too. So after I'm done with a 12-hour shift, I got to spend time with the family as well because I do love them very much. But yeah, I mean, that's long story short, right? I'm here to make money printers because I want passive income, and I know you do too. So I can always help you with that. But
Exactly.
I do.
Hey man, that sounds a lot like, man, that is exactly why I felt compelled to start this channel, because just like you said, man, so many people are busy, and to once you get into crypto, man, you realize it can become in order to do it right and to kind of have your tentacles everywhere they need to be to take advantage of all the opportunities out there. It is extremely time consuming. So, man, I hope my channel here will kind of be a funnel for people who are raising kids, who have careers, someplace where they can come and plug in and know that, the people that I have on my stream, the projects that we talk about have been vetted by longstanding community for the most part. Most of the people that I hang out with online, they've been in the community a while. They're long-termers. They're people that at least most of us feel like we can trust. And so I think that gives new people coming in, no coiners coming in, kind of an edge. They don't have to spend 6, 8, so, somebody tuning into the DGen Roundtable, like you said, they don't have to spend 6, 8, 10, 12 months, 2 years figuring out who they can trust, making a lot of mistakes, throwing their money in this project and that project that gets rugged or that disappears
Like
in the bear
me.
market, you know? So
Yeah.
yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing that I was looking at, right? And that I thought was really interesting. So you call yourself conspiracy crypto, right? Now, what's interesting about that is conspiracy theories has a lot to do with connecting the dots. All right. And
Right.
obviously, if you are a big player in the world and you're trying to sort of force things a certain way, it doesn't mean you have absolute control. In fact, you may have warring states of powerful characters, but you can always connect dots of things that are happening. And when you start looking at that, you start realizing things like the money printer system, right? The whole money printer system that we have currently is a Ponzi and is going to zero. It's all, and the inflation is actually insane. I literally just today, I tweeted out, which by the way, the Ascending Man 369, go go to my X, give me a follow because I do put out a lot of info. But yeah, I uploaded this post of this chart that showed where in 2030, kind of the national debt would go, and literally by 2030, it's going to be like what, $80 trillion. 80 trillion. That is a literal. If you were to look at that on a chart, it's a literal forever down. Okay, in value. And so when you take that and you're like, okay, well, this is clearly, making the rich richer and the poor poorer, and there is going to be no in between anymore. You're either going to have a bad life or a great life, and that sucks. And so what you got to do at that point, yeah, exactly. So what you want to do is you want to pull your fiat out of that system and put it into a system that actually can maintain value. And that's where these coins come from, right? Started off with Bitcoin and it's been growing from there, but there's a lot of technological growth that can come from that, just with different avenues of being able to use it, So with all that being said, there's a little bit of a crossover though too when you come into the conspiracy sphere, right? Because it's like
Right.
you need to be able to put these dots together just to make that connection alone of like, hey, maybe I should pull my dirty fiat out and go into these coins because they're gonna have more value, you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly, man.
yeah.
Exactly. And man, I find there's a lot of crossover in the crypto world just because again, a lot of people come into crypto to escape a system that they already know is being manipulated, right? And so you find people that are that are truth seekers already. And once they get here and we start talking, just like the conversation on the DGen Roundtable the other night led to weather manipulation, and that was something that I just talked about last week, and so here we are again talking about it. People in crypto tend to be much more open-minded about quote unquote conspiracy theories,
Mhm.
or these coinkadinks, as I like to. Yeah, I mean, man, I used to think everything was coincidence. Now I don't believe anything's a coincidence.
Right.
So anyway, man, let's get right into it. The what we're going to talk about tonight on the conspiracy side is weather manipulation. Now, and I watched that storm, the Hurricane Helene,
Mm.
and man, this is what we talked about last week. Let me show you this video. This guy um, tracks a lot of the microwave activity that is controlled by the government and the military, and he has a channel and a website that's dedicated to bringing the information about geoengineering into mainstream so that people understand what's really going on. So let me play his clip right quick, and let me see what you think about this.
Gotta click those buttons.
Sorry, guys.
Nah, it's okay. You gotta do the whole sharing, presenting, and all that, and then
Right.
yeah,
Hey,
it's
and
awesome.
Daz, this is my fourth stream, so give me a break. I'm just figuring out the production side of stuff.
Trust me, Mrs.
So
Baguette does all that shit for me. And like when I go and I start trying to look at, it, I'm like, okay, so where's the buttons now?
Hey man, so here we go. Let's try this again.
Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just the result of natural processes and climate patterns, or was it manipulated? The circular blue flashes seen in this video are frequency transmissions from the NexRad network of transmitter installations. All available science evidence makes clear that atmospheric frequency transmissions can and do have a repelling effect on air masses, especially if and when the air masses have been seeded with electrically conductive nanoparticles. The brighter the blue flash from a frequency transmission installation, the more pronounced and powerful the repelling effect on any air mass or storm in the vicinity will be. Where there are no blue flashes, there is no transmission, thus no repelling effect, thus no resistance for a migrating storm. Translation: a migrating storm will be hindered from moving toward frequency transmissions and will easily migrate in a direction with no transmissions. So again, I ask, was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just an act of nature, or was it engineered? You decide.
Yeah, so you can tell right there. Actually, are we able to bring that back up?
Yeah. Hang on just a second.
Yeah, because what you're viewing there, God. So what you're viewing there is you have right in the middle of America, you know, from like
Sorry,
Texas
guys.
going all the way over to the Great Lakes is just pure blue. It's like a literal wall. You can actually view that like a wall. Okay. Why on earth is this spinning disc always having this wall, right? And then just happens to kind of follow along with that wall. That's a very interesting thing. And then
Hang
a
on,
part of
Nate. I've got a couple of screens up that
yeah, don't worry
I
about it.
have
Don't worry about it.
confused.
I'll just go ahead and I'll kind of set this
Yeah,
up here.
man. Comment
So
on what you think about that.
yeah, so what I think is very interesting is that now, okay, first off, they went after Trump extremely hard, right? Saying, hey, you know, he needs to go to prison because of left and right reason. And when that didn't work, it's like, all right, well, he's becoming too much of a threat to our money printer right now. So what we're gonna have to do is just get rid of this guy. Either get like an actual plant or some kind of like useful idiot and go shoot him. Well, it's twice now, right? 0-2, bitches, right? Okay. Well, what can we do now? What can we do now? Oh, you're gonna have to start affecting the people, and you're gonna have to try and ruin him in a manner that is a lot of other people dying, and he is now incompetent, and now people don't want him.
Right.
So what do? They put out a hurricane, right? And if you're watching the way that you said these were microwaves, correct?
Yeah, I think these are microwave transmitters that this guy tracks.
Okay, so microwave transmitters, and what they're doing is they're literally forming you'll see it from Texas, right? From Texas going all the way to the Great Lakes, all right, are extremely blue, and then there's almost nothing along the coast. Almost nothing. Interesting. Here's something that I found fascinating is that in Appalachia, they've never had a hurricane get up there. I mean, it's the fucking mountains, dude, right? So why do we have a hurricane going up into the mountains? You see that just the extreme amounts of blue there?
Exactly.
And now look at the Great Lakes over here. How come it's all of a sudden the blue is disappearing over there, right? As it dissipates.
Right. Yeah. And because again, this guy obviously thinks that they're directing the hurricane where they want to affect or have the most damage.
Yeah, it's a literal wall, man.
And you bring up a good point, and I think this is something that when people ask me about it, it doesn't matter what what conspiracy I'm talking about, quote unquote conspiracy, whether it's flat earth, whether it's weather modification, whatever. People are always like, well, why would they do that? Why would they do that? And my answer is always, man, they're always playing on several different levels, right? Because a judge, to the point you made today, a judge just today denied extending voter registration and in several key states, Florida, Georgia,
Extension, I
all of
saw
these
that.
states,
Mhm.
to voters that were affected by Hurricane Helene and are being affected by Hurricane Milton today. So I certainly believe that is one level. And in a minute, we'll talk about another level where I think they're operating on. So I think anytime there's an event like this, the why is for several different reasons, all of them related to whatever the cabal or whoever they are that run this place want to accomplish. One of them that we'll talk about a little bit later, I've got a couple of clips about, a lot of these places like Tampa is tagged as a potential 15-minute city, right?
Mm.
Now, we all know they're not doing 15, they don't want to impose 15-minute cities on us for our convenience, right? The private market takes care of that by itself. I mean, as soon as a neighborhood goes up somewhere, next thing that comes is a grocery store, then schools, and so forth and so
McDonald's.
on. Yeah,
Yeah.
so the private sector already wants to make things convenient. The reason they want 15-minute cities is so that the next time they do a lockdown, they can really lock us down, not just country-wise, cutting off travel for us, but lock us down in a very specific location, right? And make it impossible for us to go 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour out of our way to travel. So
Yeah, and if I could speak on that real quick too, when you're talking about 15-minute cities, these 15-minute cities, the main one of the main things about them that is very attractive to people, right? That they're always like, this is why 15-minute cities are a good idea, is because everything is pure electrical, right? It's all electronics. The grids are going to be absolutely perfect for any kind of electronical system. That includes all the way up to like using AI as say such for the for lighting, right? If a light bulb goes out, one of the city lights, if that goes out, well, the AI is going to tell somebody, hey, that light is out. We need somebody out here right now. The AI will automatically like book, schedule, and pay off whoever it is who's going to come out to go take care of that light and install a new one, right? So there is an efficiency there, and for a lot of the efficiency, when I have gone through and looked at it, I'm like, damn, this is actually really awesome. But then I start thinking, wait a minute, what happens if something like a like a Pooh Bear virus, right, happens, Le Corona happens, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, you can't leave this city. Well, no, I'm going to. I'm gonna go see if my grandma is okay over in Wisconsin. And they're like, no, you're not leaving Tampa. Well, too bad. They push a button. They disable.
exactly. You're exactly right, man. And again, people like us that don't trust the government, that understand the fiat system, that are in crypto to escape that system, that are open-minded, we understand this. Unfortunately, I talk to people every day that when you start talking like this, a blank stare comes over their face. They just think that the conspiracy, it's too big. That they don't understand that not everybody's in on it. Literally, it's and living through the scamdemic, I think should have taught it certainly taught me this. It's because I already knew, before the scamdemic, I was pretty sure that nothing was what they were telling us, right? I hadn't voted in probably a couple of decades because I figured out that was a scam. We all know they get selected, not elected, right? But when the scamdemic happened, all of a sudden it became apparent to me, oh, there's not this buffer of regular people between me and the cabal or the elite, whatever you want to call them. The thing is that there are so many people between the elite and us that believe everything that is put out by mainstream propaganda, that they fall right in line. It wasn't that the policeman pulling me over, when I was out and about during the scamdemic, it wasn't that that he was part of the cabal, right? It was that he just believed all their nonsense. right? He truly believed in viruses. He truly believed that there was this deadly thing. That, I mean, so that's what, you know, we've got to be careful of. And I think that those are the people that, again, they poo-poo this idea that the government controls the weather, when in fact they're at war with us, and we see it playing out right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I know they created HARPA and they have these stations of the, forgive me if I'm forgetting the exact mechanism of these antennae, but the idea is basically that there's a lot of satellites in space and they're able to bounce lasers off them, right? And so with the lasers themselves bouncing those off, they're able to then put them into the atmosphere. Putting them into the atmosphere then excites the electrons in the atoms that are in the atmosphere here. And from there, basically they can kind of, based on how they excite them, they're able to control whether, you know, you're going to create more moisture, right? Which creates more clouds. And then you can also guide that in like certain shapes and patterns that would be susceptible to storms or something like that, right? Now,
Right.
the interesting thing is that they've been testing this on, it's out in Alaska. I can't remember the exact location, but it's out in Alaska where they've been testing this a lot. And they started getting rain. They started making rain out in the snow. It's like, well, how'd you do that? And they're like, oh, I don't know, we just cranked it up and saw how hot we could get it. And it's not like they're melting the snow. No. This is way up in the atmosphere, you know,
Right.
where the high clouds are, you know. And then they started gathering so much moisture together in one spot, it creates clouds, which then, you know, it's still hot up there, so, or hot enough, I should say. Obviously, it's still going to be cold, but then, yeah, they start dropping rain. So, I mean, it's things like that. And, you know, when you look at this way back in history, it's like they started creating these, I think it was right around, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but it was around 1940 they started experimenting with HARPA. And then it
Right.
was the 1960s that they actually started building it. And I think it's just weird how they do that. And then all of a sudden we have these very convenient storms, like the last two hurricanes we literally just had.
Right.
When from the very beginning, like I was saying, it starts off with we can't have Trump in the White House because he is going to threaten the money printer. Okay, so then from the money printer, right? If he's going to threaten that, we need to get rid of him. So let's go ahead and let's smear him. Okay, smear his reputation, make people don't like him. Oh, that's weird. It made people like him more. Weird. Okay, now we're gonna put him in jail. Wait, oh crap, that didn't work. All right, that's it. Just shoot him. Wait, we missed twice. We can't do that because literally everyone online is saying if this guy dies, you know, we're gonna have a revolution, right? And so it's like, what can we do? What can we do? Okay, we have no choice. We got to start hitting the nuclear button, right? We're gonna send a complete disaster, and we are not gonna help at all. And he's gonna just totally fail. He's incompetent.
Exactly. So, man, you seem to be along the lines that I am. I think they've been manipulating the weather at least since the 40s, 50s. Most certainly, when they admit doing it, is during the Vietnam War with Operation Popeye, right? And you know, the as Hex Monkey here in the chat calls them, the NPCs, you know, they are constantly defending. When anytime you talk about weather manipulation, they'll say, well, yeah, but it didn't work very well, or yeah, but they really can't control it, this and that. Hey, you look at anything the government has done, the nefarious, right? It's always the same thing. First, they deny that they have the ability to do it or that they did it, right? Then they'll admit peripherally, well, yeah, we manipulated that, or we had a hand in it, but it was negligible. And then ultimately they come out and they say, yeah, we instigated the whole thing and it was all a lie. But that was those people then. Now there's different people in control and they would never do that, right? It's always the same story. And so it is with weather manipulation, I believe. You know, they'll say, yeah, we've been testing it, so forth and so on, but it's not effective yet, right? Complete nonsense. That by the time they even leak a little bit about it out to us, that they have the ability to do it, they have the ability to do it, right? That's what I think.
Yeah, and so one of the things that I was seeing, which was very interesting, is the Helena and Milton. They had a time of rapid. What's the exact word they're using now? It's rapid intensity, something like that. And
Yeah,
it's literally over the course of like 24 hours, 36 hours, where it's like it goes from a category 2 to a category 5. What? And you
right.
start thinking, what the hell? How did this take off that fast, right? And so I was seeing some videos, and maybe you got the clips, right? But I'll say it, and you can go ahead and say if you got them or not. But there's this guy who watches these tankers, okay, out in the Gulf of Mexico. He's a fisherman out there, so he knows the place very well. And
Right.
so he's got a map of all the tankers out there, and he's like, why is it that some of these there's a hurricane going on? Some of these are literally sitting there at like 1 to 2 knots. They ain't going anywhere. Then they're all kind of concentrated in this really weird beginning spot of like where Milton started from, right?
Right.
And they're just concentrated there. And a bunch of other ones are going like 20, 30 knots. And it's like they're getting the hell out of there. They got a place to go, you know?
Right.
So it's very interesting how that happens. But then when you watch the radar, okay, what you'll notice is like you just when you watch the weather radar and all that, you see the swirling greens and yellows and reds, right, like that. Well, what you can do is you can watch it doing that, and then all of a sudden there's this one spot where it like you can see something is getting injected into it, and it's the same colors. It's starts off green, then it gets yellow, then it gets red, and all of a sudden, like hours after that, the intensity of the storm just balloons. Okay, this has
Yeah.
happened multiple times now, and they were so stupid to do it twice in a row with Helena and Milton now that it's like, guys, what the hell? And so the technology actually has been out there, where they actually have like out in the open, where they literally show you them making clouds. Okay,
Right.
and
Well, there are private companies. I mean, the whole. Do you remember the flooding incident in Dubai earlier this year?
I heard about that. I didn't really look into it though.
The whole flooding incident. Dubai has contracts with private companies that do cloud seeding to make
Mm,
it rain in these drier climate countries. Well, one of the companies overdid what they were supposed to do, or heated up the atmosphere too much, and that's what caused the flooding over there.
damn.
So again, there's even some of the technology has already made itself they've already made it available to the private sector, right? So imagine the technology that the government has, or that the people in charge of this realm have, right? And when you talk about the tankers, uh, in fact, we're going to watch a video in just a second. One
Hey.
of the things that's necessary for these hurricanes to develop is warmer water. And so, is it warmer water on the surface, or cooler water? Cooler water, I guess, because what these tankers do, what I'm guessing what they were doing out there in this formation is they were pulling up cooler water from the ocean depth and throwing it on the surface. And this is one of the things you'll see in this next video. Let me pull up this clip. And this is also a little bit about our wonderful friend Bill the Psychopath Gates. Anytime anything goes on, you gotta. Bill Gates probably has his hand in it, and weather modification is one of the things that he has his hand in. So let's watch this clip. There's a couple of
The
spots here.
hurricane directly into Tampa and the Sarasota area specifically? Like, that's the question that stands out to many of.
And man, I tell you what, this is very heartening to see. Even people in, not what I would call mainstream media, but the alternative media, but still more in that mainstream sector. Even these people are talking about it as if that they know that these storms are being directed by the government. So I think that's cool.
Us. Many people are wondering why Tampa specifically, though. Let's talk about Bill Gates. The man who wants to control the weather and reshape the way that you live. I mean, down to you not eating meat. He wants to take down forests in order to cool the climate. He wants to block out the sun. I mean, this is literally what he wants to do. He wants to test vaccines, of course, on unexpected individuals. Like, he loves this stuff right now. And this isn't some conspiracy stuff. This is fact. This is exactly what he's been doing. It's happening right now. And it's connected to something much bigger than just hurricanes and climate solutions. So stick with me here on this. Reshaping the way you live through weather manipulation is what Bill Gates wants to do. So let's start with this. Back in 2009, Bill Gates puts his name on a patent for controlling hurricanes. Yes, you can't make this stuff up. On hurricanes, watch.
When you hear the name Bill Gates, you probably think Microsoft founder, but now the billionaire may be known as the hurricane tamer. Gates is listed as one of 13 inventors on a patent filed for hurricane prevention methods. Hurricanes gain strength from condensation driven by warm surface water, which leads to greater wind speeds. Gates and his team plan to use a fleet of ships to cool warm surface water by mixing it with colder water from greater depths. They hope this will sap energy from growing storms, leading to weaker, less devastating hurricanes. The patent, which isn't expected to be approved for another 18 months, was submitted by CREET LLC, a sub-entity of an Intellectual Ventures and an invention acquisition and development firm.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong when Bill Gates becomes a hurricane tamer and does?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so what's interesting about that is these tankers, what they have a tendency to do is they got these giant, well, they're cloud making machines, but basically what it does is it heats up the surface, right? The surface of the ocean, and they have tons of fuel to be able to dump into heating them up. So if you were to combine that method with extra heat, making it like actually warm water, not just like cold water and then very cold water under pressure, then you have very, very, very rapid cloud growth. And if you specifically shoot that in a very particular spot, you can cause, because of the huge amount of clouds being made and put into the atmosphere, right, into the storm itself. If you put it in certain spots, you can actually cause that rotation. And then once that rotating starts, that's when it starts eating everything. And then you just continue it. You just keep pushing that in there. And next thing you know, you go from a freaking category 2, which is like, okay, who cares, to a freaking category 5, or like with Milton, wow, we're going to need to make a new category for this one. It's like, really?
Exactly, man. Complete insanity. And this was in 2009. And if they were talking about it publicly back then, again, I bet you the technology had existed for an awful long time, awful long time. So let's watch. Let's finish up this clip. There's something a little bit further on I found pretty interesting also. Let's see if we catch it here.
If you're a redacted hater, you're probably wearing a mask alone in your car. Anyway, so Bill Gates holds a hurricane modification patent. A hurricane patent that can tame a hurricane. And the patent allows for strengthening and steering of the hurricane. You can read the patent yourself. It allows for the strengthening and steering of the hurricane. Bill Gates holds this patent. But ask yourself, why is Bill Gates, a guy who made billions in technology, suddenly interested in controlling natural disasters? It's not like he's a meteorologist or a climate scientist. So what's the real agenda here?
He's a thief. He stole shrink wrap software.
Yes, from IBM.
Yes.
Yeah. So why do you think this is? Why exactly? What is the motivation for someone like Bill Gates to be involved in this? Well, could it have anything to do with this, as we talked about yesterday? The 15-minute city project. As we reported yesterday, Tampa Bay had been selected as a new 15-minute city. Among other cities, Portland, Oregon, Portland, Maine, there's a list of these 15-minute city projects that are unfolding, and Tampa Bay is set to be one of them. And Bill Gates has a massive investment in Tampa Bay's 15-minute city project, which covers 40 acres of waterfront property. Now, if you haven't heard of 15-minute cities, let me explain. The idea is that everything you need, your job, your grocery store, your entertainment, your education, should all be within a 15-minute walk. You don't need to drive a car. Your carbon footprint is too much. You will scan your ID walking along, so we will know all about your movements, your carbon footprint. It will reduce climate change. You won't be driving any kind of fossil fuel car. It all sounds so convenient, right? But here's the thing. This isn't about walkable communities at all. It's all about control, as our friend of the show, Whitney Webb, has so eloquently put it here on our show. And this is exactly what the World Economic Forum wants. You can read all about 15-minute cities right on the World Economic Forum's own website. I encourage you all to go to their website and do it. I won't bore you with it right now. But they actively promote it and they actively want it. They are selling us more automated life, of course, but to what end exactly? Could it be?
All right, man. There you go. There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, so this is now that he put it that way, this is kind of it's connecting a couple more dots. So, do you remember what happened in Hawaii?
Yes.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
broke
I
out,
do.
right?
No, I don't believe there was a fire. I think they were attacked with direct energy weapons. But but that was another land grab.
Yes. Yep, they absolutely wanted that. Also in Appalachia, just happens to be sitting on the world's largest supply of, or it's lithium.
Is it
That's what it was.
lithium?
Lithium. Yep,
Lithium. Yeah.
lithium deposit.
Yeah. A
Okay.
huge. Certainly, I think somebody the other day took issue with the fact that it wasn't the world's largest deposit, but it's a huge deposit of lithium.
Huge deposit.
Natural resources.
And here's
Yeah.
what's interesting. In 2011, tons of these huge investment firms and private companies went out there and was like, hey, I want to start mining this. We'll pay you tons of money. Just get the hell out of here.
Right.
And everyone's like,
they didn't
"Fuck
want to
you."
do it. That's right. They protested. That's exactly right.
Mhm. Okay.
But what better way than again? This is that what we were talking about earlier. I don't ever think stuff like this happens and it's for one reason. I think they're working on all kinds of different levels, and the land grab is certainly one of them. I heard Sami talking about it. This routine today. He says, somebody comes along, they want to buy your house, so you don't want to sell it. Okay, great. Well, but if then they send somebody for the next 6 months, once a month, to break into your house and rob it, at some point you're going to be like, man, I should probably move, right? You'll be ready to sell then.
It's a good way to put it.
That's exactly the way the government operates, man. These people are criminal. They don't give two wits about the people that live in these places. They want to do their business, and that's basically it. And they don't care who dies. I mean, just look at the way they're responding to the Hurricane Helene. You've got you can find all kinds of videos. I may have saved some, but I didn't pull them up right before the show, of people talking about how, hey man, we've got ATVs, we've got resources, we've got people trained in search and rescue, we've got supplies that have been donated, but FEMA won't let us go in. The government will not let us go into these places. The same thing. They had there was a helicopter pilot, private pilot, had his own helicopter, was going in and rescuing people, right? They shut him down. They said, if you go in one more time, we're going to arrest you because you're not supposed to be in the airspace. Let the government take care of it. Man, it's ridiculous what the government does.
Oh yeah, you're going actually to dive into that a little bit further. So basically what's happening right now is, number one, they're not getting supplies from FEMA, they're getting supplies from locals and also other nonprofits that are just dumping everything into them. Okay, and here's what's happening. The state police are with concrete blockades, literally blocking off any road going in there. And the funny thing is that there's been some people who are like, okay, well, fuck you. We're gonna take these supplies. In fact, there's a story about this one guy. He literally drove 40 miles to go get his family supplies, comes back, and the blockades are going up. Okay. And he's like, what the hell is going on? They told him he can't go in there, told him about his family, and they're just like, no, you can't go in there. And so he literally took the supplies, walked himself in there, right, and basically blew through the blockade. But they started trying to wrestle him down. He literally beat the shit out of three of them, I guess, three cops, ran in there, and when he arrived, at the location where everybody was grouped together. He told them about it, and then the cops started showing up for him, and everybody was like, no, you get the fuck out of here, because this man needs to get supplies to his family, you know? And so
Right.
what's been happening currently is that anybody new who comes in who's trying to help, right? That includes multiple private helicopters and pilots, right? Anybody who's trying to help, they are literally telling them, hey, if you see anybody from FEMA, you avoid just completely, because what they'll do is they will confiscate all your stuff and then they'll head out with it. And it's kind of ridiculous too, because apparently, and obviously all conspiracies, right? But
right, there are people who will hear this conversation and will say, that's crazy. The government would never do that.
right?
Of course they do.
Oh, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But then, but so some people have been tracking down some of the FEMA people who have been confiscating stuff. They've tracked them, and they tracked them down
Nice.
to an immigrant, what do you call it? Immigrant, like a shelter or whatever.
Right.
So all these illegal immigrants are getting those supplies now.
Oh
It's a
my
transfer.
God.
Yep. And
Bro, that is so
it's-
crazy.
it's bad. And so then when you also look at the donations of FEMA helping out the illegal immigrants for, it was a couple of $1 million. I can't remember the exact number. Off the
Yeah,
top
like
of my head.
I mean, everybody that has been coming into the country illegally that files for it, they get like $13,000 on a credit card, plus all kinds of other benefits too. But
Could I have that?
cash, it's crazy, man. It's crazy, and they give the victims of Hurricane Helene $750.
$750.
Bro, that's not even enough to buy groceries for a family of 4 for a week, or barely for a week. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's pretty bad. And did you see the one that Donald Trump was like, we need to make this viral, where it was an unmarked Black Hawk that came down in
Yes.
the donation area? Yeah, and just sat there blowing everything away. Like, are you
Exactly.
fucking serious, dude?
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Destroyed that whole staging area and probably
Mhm.
hurt some people in the process.
Yeah, stuff getting blown around. Yeah. And I was hearing from the stories of the people who couldn't believe it. And apparently there was 2 unmarked, it was SUVs, and they were flashing blue or whatever. And they just kind of like drove around for a little while, and then they just left. It's like,
Yeah. Crazy.
huh.
Hey man, but I think you know that's especially what makes what we're doing here so important, because talking about this stuff, making this stuff mainstream. Again, we're quick to pass judgment and classify the cops that were putting up that blockade and so forth and so on as part of the cabal, right? They may just be taking orders, right? I think a lot of those people, they think, oh, well, we're just doing what we're told. We're keeping people safe, so forth and so on, right? But the more of those people that are between the decision makers and the people who are really nefarious, that are between them and us, the more of those normal people, maybe some of them are NPCs and we can't, we'll never wake them up. But I think some of those people are reachable, right? If they just understand what's really going on, if they start to become truth seekers, if we can convince them that, look, guys, the people that are given these orders, it makes no sense. It goes against common sense. It goes against common human decency. And we've got to convince them, enough of them, to not comply with their orders. What if at that blockade, half of the people said, wait a minute, this makes no sense. There are people willing to go through and help these people. That's what we should be doing, is helping them find their way there, not blocking them off just because somebody higher up told us to, right? I think that's where shows like this, where the information that, we discuss as truth seekers can be of benefit,
Yeah, the issue generally, unfortunately, comes to what's driving, what's motivating, and when you're just taking orders because that's your job, and even whether it's right or wrong, you can kind of, even if you think it's like wrong, you can, the fact that you need to provide for your own family kind of levels that out a little bit. If not like, yeah, I could do the job, even though I think it's crooked, right? It doesn't truly start hitting a human powerfully enough to really make a change until and this is what I've always kind of had the idea of, like, how would this become like a true issue? And it's when we start a civil war, and then Americans with guns are getting their land taken from them. And next thing you know, the military, our own Marines, are called into fighting us. Okay. And then gun battles start.
Right.
And how long until our own American soldiers are going to be like, I'm literally killing Americans? What? Okay, something is wrong here. And these people are really fighting hard as though they want to stay in America. Wait a minute. What's going on here? That type of thinking is going to happen. Okay.
Right.
And
right. Well, but I think that the reason that we're here talking about weather modification, weather is warfare, is because they're using weather to avoid those situations.
True.
Right.
True.
You see what I'm saying? Because if they can accomplish what they've done in North Carolina and what they've done in Florida, displacing people and making the attack seem like it's Mother Nature, then who can people blame? Who can the NPCs blame? Right? Because they don't see it the way we see it.
Yeah, and that is unfortunately the issue. But the thing is, this is where I I like what Trump is doing, and Musk and everybody, get involved with that. Is it's like, it's not necessarily about getting in deep into the weeds like how we are, right? All you need to do is just say, hey, can you open your mind for a second and imagine that the CNN reporter on the television is lying to you?
Yeah.
Once you hit that, that's where the NPCs go from like NPC, whatever you want, sir, I'll do it for you. Starts going, wait a minute, why would I want to do that? But they're not thinking to the level of like there's a cabal like who has a specific purpose. They're trying to do something.
Right. Yeah.
That's the level we're at here. But they are at the level of like, I don't think I want to say that you're telling the truth. Yeah, I don't think I believe you.
Exactly.
And at that point, it's like, I'm not. Maybe I won't take the shot. Maybe I won't wear a mask. Why am I wearing a mask? That's the normal NPC way,
Yeah, exactly. Hey man, I can't believe one of the things I've learned about streaming is how quick time goes.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
we're coming up on close to an hour, about 50 minutes, and I'm trying to keep everything an hour or less, just to make things accessible to people. So let's talk a little bit of crypto now. So because obviously for you and me, we figured out the way to escape, or one of the ways to escape the system that is causing all this harm to other people in our country is by escaping the fiat system, right? By using crypto. What I told my daughter when I discovered crypto was that, you know what? If nothing else, this is our chance to buy our freedom, right? That this could be the opportunity that allows our family to create the kind of generational wealth that we can provide ourselves freedom from the system, and our children and generations to come freedom from these ridiculous psychopathic rulers that think they own us,
So here's the thing that I was looking at, right? And I've said this on stream several times during the DGen roundtable, right? Now, number one, the money printer is king. Money printer is God, right? And so when the money printer starts dying, which basically happened in 2008, and they realize we need to try to do something else. I don't know if it was the FBI or the CIA or whoever it was that actually created Bitcoin. Maybe it is preparation for a new system. I don't know. I really don't care. Okay. The thing is, we have a new system now. We have a life raft from the sinking ship. And
Yes.
so because of that, let's go ahead and pretend that it was made just randomly by some guy all about freedom, right? Now let's go ahead and look at the money printer and the powers to be, which is all about control. They don't care about making money. They print the money. They have unlimited money sources. So they're not caring about getting richer. That's not, I hate it when people start being like, yeah, these rich people, they want to get rich. That's not it. It's about power. Okay.
Exactly.
They need the control. So how can you control something that's not controllable? Bitcoin, right? Well, you start creating a fence around it. You start buying up the supply to the point where one Bitcoin is all you'll ever own, right? While meanwhile they have everything else, and they can control that supply or control the ups and downs however they want, right? If they don't want you to go buying something, they can lower it for you, which is very convenient and helpful for me, right? Because I always want to lose money. But they also get to the point where like they'll know your wallets, okay? They know you, and now we're right back into the same system that we're in now. This is an entire game they're playing. Now, here's the thing that I've been looking at. It's like, all right, how do we escape from that, because it's like, okay, we've escaped the system. Here they come in again. They're locking it up. All right, let's escape the Bitcoin system now.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. There are too many innovators all about freedom now. I mean, if you just look at Pulsechain, this is a good example. And the thing is, if you were to imagine this, and this is when I was going back and forth with Zenith on this one, it's like he was thinking of it like a ship, right? So if Bitcoin is a big cabal of a ship, a huge, massive ship, and when you try and turn that thing, it takes a long time to actually turn around. Meanwhile, something like a Pulsechain is going to be like this smaller ship that can turn on a fucking dime, man. And so, and it's going to be technically faster because it's not nearly as heavy. So that's going to be the forever battle that I see in the balance here. Is you have the small, fast, technologically advanced people who are always creating new things to outrun the system, and all you have to do is just continue to ride with them. Just keep up with the new technology, keep moving into that. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But too many people get scared about having to keep up with that lifestyle. So then they sit back and like, just go back to Bitcoin and then go sit on the big ship. And now you're stuck again. Okay. And then eventually, and it's probably going to go like cycles like this, right? Where you got people who want maximum freedom, people who want security. Okay. And so Bitcoin eventually is going to hit that just I want security. But then those people are going to be like, okay, why am I in a 15-minute city where Bitcoin is the transactionary currency, right? Well, I want some freedom here. I'm really pissed off that I can't go see grandma, So that's when they start wanting freedom again. That's when they start moving into and creating things like a Pulsechain. All right. So yeah, I see a future where that's going to be the constant battle. And thank God it's not going to be the battle that used to be where it was giant warring factions, aka countries, right? World wars, that were trying to take all the control, and it became kinetic and very heavy loss of life, right? At least in this particular case, it's loss of freedom, right? And unfortunately, if they want to kill you, I guess they can, because of, maybe some disease just randomly comes up. So that's population control, I guess. But yeah, I think that there's always going to be this battle between the freedom fighters, technological freedom fighters, and then needing some security.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Of course, daddy government will always have security.
Yeah, man. You and I kind of think the same way. I've never. First of all, the fiat system we know is controlled by them and is nefarious, right? So, and we all use that money. All right. So when I discovered crypto and Bitcoin in particular, heard that the whole story about Satoshi. Again, I had my doubts. I'm like, I don't know, man. It sounds like this could have been created by like you said, whoever, man. The CIA, it was their way to kind of get people in, right? Okay. But regardless of that, it doesn't matter, because on the way, a lot of normal people are still going to get rich. So given those two options, stay in the fiat system because I'm principled and I don't want to partake of this system that I think could be tainted, right? Or get into this system. Because again, I'm already in a system that I don't like, I don't support, that I know is out to get me, right, through inflation.
Yeah, and you want freedom from it.
exactly, or get involved in this system, front run who they want in, which is all the NPCs, right? They want them all on the blockchain so they can monitor them. And I think that's really what it's all about. I think it's more about the blockchain technology than it is the currency, right? Because they want total control over everything we do. That's why they fight so hard against privacy coins and privacy chains, right? So I think regardless of whether the inception of Bitcoin and blockchain technology was nefarious because they want to drive us into that system to control us, regardless of whether that's true or not, it still affords us the opportunity to get wealthy enough to buy our freedom along the way.
Bye
Right?
bye.
I mean, there are always people that are, that are able to use what's going on to their advantage, and we just happen to be at that point in time in what's going on with blockchain technology. And so, and I agree with you also that I think they vastly underestimate the amount of ingenuity and that's going to come along that normal people are going to do, just like normal people have figured out how to escape the allopathic medical system and find real health in alternative medicine, right? Just like normal people have figured out how to escape a lot of their tyranny. That normal people have figured out how to escape their judicial system. That is, is not the de jure judicial system of the Constitution, right? And there are a lot of people that are state citizens instead of U.S. citizens now. There are people that have passports that allow them to travel unencumbered by the federal government, right? So that I think there's always a remedy that makes itself available to us, and I think being in crypto at this time will be the biggest remedy for us because it will allow us to ride those coattails, no matter what their plan to use the blockchain against us is. On the way there, a lot of us are going to get rich and buy our way out anyway. So,
Yeah. So before we close, I'd like to kind of give a little bit of an analogy of the way I see it. Okay. So imagine you have a crumbling building with prisoners in it. All right. Now you need to use these prisoners to go build a new building. So that way, you're able to continue it without, this building falling completely crumbling around you. Right. Now, when you're one of those prisoners who are working on that new building being built, there's a lot of holes that you can kind of sneak your way out of. All right. It's because number one, it's not built yet, but also number two, it's not like they have the security of the already built building. All right. No, it's this brand new. Like I said, a bunch of holes. And so there's several of these prisoners that are going to be, hey, we can just sneak through there and actually escape this system. Cool. Let's escape. And then they go through the holes and they front run that. Right. So that's the way that I'm kind of seeing crypto right now. Is they're trying to build a new system, a new building, and we see that they're trying to build a new one. And so a lot of people have taken the technology itself and either created like bugs in the electronic system of the new building, right? So they can kind of mess with it a bit. But then also people are able to find these holes and escape the being a prisoner and become their own person.
Man, that's a much better analogy than what I was trying to explain. But that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Hey, man, Nate, I have had a blast. I appreciate you coming on. We're gonna close it down. I tell you what, if you want to wait backstage for me for just a minute, and let's say hi to some people. Michael Barker, he brought up a good point. He said, "Did you know that the flooding in Dubai happened the day after they joined BRICS and dropped the U.S. dollar?" I had forgotten that, but you bringing that up, that is exactly true. That is exactly true. So, hey, man, Michael, thanks for stopping in. We appreciate you being here. Nate, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you again and what's coming up for you in the next week or so?
Yeah, well, actually, tomorrow I got book club. I can't remember the exact book. I got to read it tomorrow, which is going to be nice because I had a lot of stuff I was doing today and yesterday, actually, as well. But yes, You can find me at The Ascending Man, right? Which is my YouTube right down there. Just go ahead and type that in. You'll find me. But then also the DGen Roundtable. And I'm a co-founding member there, along with Will Stevenson, and then Jay and Brandon and Z, and oh my gosh, everybody over there, right? We are trying to help as many people as possible escape this evil system, and we will do everything that we possibly can. And so yeah, just go ahead, go look for us there. It's DGen Roundtable on YouTube, and hey, good times are
Awesome,
coming.
man. Awesome. Hey, thanks again for joining me. Like I say, if you'll give me a couple of minutes to close down the stream, I'll join you backstage and we can bid farewell. I appreciate it. And we'll see you in a minute. All right, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream. Just a couple of things. Don't forget, if you are new to crypto and you would like a personal conversation, if you would like somebody to kind of hold your hand through setting up a wallet, man, I still remember the first time I sent money off of an exchange to my own wallet. I was freaked out because I knew there was nobody to call if I made a mistake. So if you would like somebody to hold your hand through the initial process of getting started in crypto, I'd be happy to help you. I work on a donation basis. Or if you download the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app that Dave Weiss has and use my referral code, you can have a complimentary consultation, and we can set up your wallets or take care of any other thing that you want to regarding crypto. Also, if you are a new member to the No Permissions Patreon, that's Randy Hilarski's group. If you are a new member to the No Permissions Patreon, I'd also be happy to work with you. Your first consultation complimentary. Again, for anybody else that doesn't want to go that route, I work on a donation basis. I'm happy to help you. And as the bull market continues, you can thank me in appreciated assets of some type. I'd like to thank everybody, especially Axis for dropping in. Michael Barker, thanks for being here. I think I saw Will Stevenson pop in for a little bit. Thanks, guys, and spread the word. We're going to free as many people as possible through crypto and hopefully open a lot of people's minds here on Conspiracy Crypto. Have a great night.